Hello there, my name is Asleon. Today we'll be talking about how I built my Astra. I think Astra's the other one. Astra. This lady. Alrighty. What do we start with? Her stats. She's got 12,729 HP, 2,873 attack, 829 defense, 83 impact, 17 crit rate, 74 crit damage, 93 anomaly mastery, 164 anomaly proficiency, 20 pen ratio, and 2.8 energy regen, with her recommended stats being attack and energy regen. Now, W engine-wise, I personally have her on a Slice of Time. You could probably easily put her on Weeping Cradle, The Vault. Let me see if I can grab the right one. Kaboom the Cannon. Or you could put her on Reverb Mark II. I think these all work really well. They either got the ER or pen ratio, which is fine. It works well, ER and pen ratio. And all their substats do something nicely for her. Pen ratio is not like my first choice for her, but I like the effectiveness ones for the slice one on her. And I also, honestly, I should get to leveling some more Nicole's signature. I find those are really good for a lot of support units, because a lot of support units are ether and they want that nice little ether bonus. If you don't have their signature, of course. Now, artifact-wise, I have her on a 4-piece of Astral Voice and a 2-piece of Moonlit Lullaby. I'd say you could do 2 or 4 pieces of Moonlit Lullaby, 2 or 4 pieces of Astral Voice, or 2 or 4 pieces of Swing Jazz. And then with your 2-piece being anything that has attack percent, like Hormone Punk, or anything that has a 2-piece of ER, I'd say prioritize those, which is why she's got the 2-piece of Moonlit Lullaby. If I had a different set of Swing Jazz I wanted to put on her, that's what she'd be on. I like the Astral Voice for the 4-piece, so that's what I got on her, but you could probably do 2 or 4 pieces of Moonlit. Like I said, 2 or 4 pieces of Moonlit Lullaby, Astral Voice, or Swing Jazz are my recommendations. Now, stat-wise, I would say for your 6, you should do ER or attack percent, for your 5, attack percent, and for your 4, attack percent. The only one which I say maybe no, not attack percent is your 6, and then everything else just main attack percent. And then besides that, I'd say do whatever you want with the substats, attack percent being the biggest one. I don't think you can get ER on it, so I wouldn't worry about that. And then besides that, pen ratio is probably not that bad. It recommends anomaly proficiency, so it's not like that. It's not like anomaly proficiency is bad in the first place. I wouldn't say there's a big priority on substats except for some more attack on it. Now, skill-wise, always do the alphabet first. I then recommend doing her special attack, her ult, and then probably her assist. Their upgrade suggestions are, well, alphabet, E, ult, quick assist, your base, and then her dodge. And that's it for this. Pretty straightforward. Do the alphabet, E, ult, assist. I wouldn't worry. I think these are really low priority. Now, con-wise, her cons are nice and long. But her C1 is when she hits an enemy, she takes away all attributes resistance by 6%. This can stack up to 3 times, and it lasts for 30 seconds. Each new stack resets the duration, so that's nice. And then upon entering battle, so when she gets swapped in, upon entering the battlefield, so I assume this is when she gets swapped onto field. It could also just be at the start of the battle. It's one or the other. I'm not entirely sure. I don't exactly have her C1. I can't test it. But she gains 1,000 decibels, so she gets a third of her ult. Unless you have special things, but typically, if I recall correctly, it's 3,000 decibels per ult, so you get a third of her ult. And then when she activates her ult, every squad member gains a stack of what they call Song of Protection for 60 seconds. Now, Song of Protection... A stack of Song of Protection just allows them to be invulnerable for 1 second after getting hit by an enemy. It consumes that stack, and then they're invulnerable for a second. So it helps with knockback or whatever, or if you miss your dodge. Her C2 is that her attack buff gets an increase of 19%, and the maximum buff gets an increase of 400. So I believe the initial one, so instead of being 35, it is now a 54% increase. Instead of the max being 12,000, it is now 16,000 for context for that one. And then Iliac Crescenza's state, which is her E state where she can't move or do anything. And then when she's in that state and she switches to another member through a quick assist, chain, or defense assist, or evasive assist, she will follow up with 1 Tremelio and 3 tone clusters. This effect can trigger every 3 seconds. Now, the Tremelio and tone clusters, were they in here? They were here. Quickly move, then release Tremelio, dealing either damage. Enter the Idiot Coronel state, and then I don't quite remember where the clusters were. So I don't have the exact numbers on either of those. Her C3 is just your typical with the increase of the levels of her stuff. Her C5, or no, 4, we're on 4, not 5 yet. 5 is the same as C3, though. Her C4 is after she does a chain attack or an ultimate. Within 15 seconds of her chain her ultimate, she may trigger a quick assist if she doesn't have any cords, which I believe they're the little star things. I need to double check that actually, but I'm pretty sure they're the little star charges. And then when the attack hits an enemy, the interval for your capability of doing quick assist is reduced by 1 second. And then when she's in that E set state, via that frozen state, and another squad member enters the field via quick assist, they will receive, because she gives buffs with her thing, but they will now receive different buffs based on their specialty. So I don't know if this overrides the initial buff or this is an additional buff type thing, because it just says they receive different buffs. This effect can be triggered every 3 seconds for the entire squad, so you can't just switch them out. You have to wait 3 seconds to be able to. But attack specialty is the quickest attacks. Heavy attack on an enemy will deal extra damage equal to 300% of her attack. So additional damage plus 300 of Astra's attack. The anomaly will have a 50% increase on anomaly buildup, and then the stun will have a 50% increase on the daze. And again, her C5 is the same as her C3, and then the C6 is when she's in that frozen, the Iliac Crescenza state. The damage multiplier for Tremelio and tone clusters will increase by 200%, and then their crit rate will also increase by 80%. And then when she triggers a precise assist, which I'm honestly not entirely sure what is, she will automatically follow up with the third beat of her base attack, which is called Capriccio. So the third hit of base attack Capriccio, which is a specific base attack. Sometimes these kits are really complicated, and I'm not going to bother reading through them all, especially because I'm never going to get her C6, so it's not very relevant to me. But it also increases that by 80, her crit rate by 80, that crit rate. It also increases the crit rate of that one by 80%, and this effect can only be triggered once every 10 seconds. Now, for things, not the base attack chorus. State. Oh, there it is. So upon the third hit, hold this, drawing enemies in, so it would be a crowd control move. 2 hearts. What were they looking for? Chords. Chord. For every 25 entry, 1 chord. 1 Lich's critic. Astra has chords. Equations will trigger the following when an active character hits an attack, once per, but that's the chord there. That is all for her general build. Team-wise, which is what we'll get into here, we're just going to fight, what's his name? The first guy. The Dead and Butcher. We're just going to fight him. We're not going to use this team. We're going to go ahead and use this Bivy team. He's Bivy. But team-wise, I'd say Astra's pretty versatile. Just, you can get the smiles, because sometimes you can't get the smiles, but teams are... So if you can get smiles, get the smiles, but you also don't have to worry too much about them. But Astra's pretty versatile. She enhances attack, she enhances crit damage, she does a lot of buffing. So you could put her in basically any team. Probably not a team that relies on anomaly, because she doesn't do too much for them, but any attack-based team she will do really well in. So... And she's really heavily off-field, so if you want a different character on-field a lot, she works really, really well for that. As you'll see with this team, she I mean, with any team, she just stays off the field most of the time. Using her is also pretty simple. It's just you hit her E and then you wait for the little shinies to go out on the character symbol and then swap. And they get their little buffs. And then they rinse and repeat. I know, I feel like I sound really tired this episode. I like Astra, but I wouldn't say I'm invested in her in the slightest. Also, her kit was kind of annoying to read all the way through. I didn't even read it all the way through. Her kit was annoying to look at. I don't even think she has like, the most complicated kit I've looked at yet. Some of these, I feel like ZZZ, because I do Genshin and Star Rail as well, but I feel like ZZZ's kits are always the most complicated. But yeah, I swapped her. This is the idyllic state where she can't really move. She can do little twirls and stuff, but like that's it. You hit her E to do that. And then besides that, I will show you what I mean by the shiny thing in the corner in just 1 second. So you just got to keep your eye on the quick assist thing, and now we just, you know, wait for it to trigger, I guess. Well, actually, she needs to be doing this. So you could see the little things, and then you see the little things on the bottom there. Kind of what you want to see there. We'll go ahead and do Astra into Dylan, over back to Billy. Playing her really isn't that complicated, despite how long her thing was. Part of the reason I never looked at her kit is because I've always found it pretty simple to play. Just do the E, swap characters, either when it's shining or when you want to. Typically it's best when it's shining because you'll get more buffs that way, but I've never cared entirely, as you can see. She does need one of her little shiny things to be able to trigger the musical bit. What I'll call it. I feel like this episode's gonna be so sorry about that to the Astra fans. I like her. I don't know, brain dead right now. But I wanted to make sure I got it out, so I'm doing it. I really need to start doing these much further in advance. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and do this and hit onto Billy. And then I should have used her ult. Astra's also one of the few characters actually in this game that will heal you. Because it's like, what? Her, Paniento, and that might be it. Let me look at the characters real quick. I don't think any of them heal. They don't heal. Nope. I know he heals. I mean, like, he can self-heal, but I don't count that because Yidhara can also self-heal, but it's not something I count. Like, can they heal a teammate? I know he can. Yeah, I think, like, these two are the only ones that can actually heal your units. Besides that, you actually need a shield or just dodge. So you take Astra into account for that. She can heal your units. And she does a really good amount of buffing. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a blessed rest of your day.